Alright, here we are. This is the bounce house. Some brief instructions. We have all the bounce house rules right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to have one person standing outside of the entrance, right here, and then we'll have another person monitoring it. So they can be here, they can move around, watch the slides, see what kids are doing. They may want to stay probably primarily over here where the slide is. Anyways, the person at the entrance needs to remind everyone to remove shoes, jewelry, watches, glasses, anything sharp. So something like this on my arm has to go. So we're going to have a bin that people could put their stuff in. We don't want people getting their earrings caught. We don't want things slicing the bounce house. So anything that they're wearing, the person needs to do a check, make sure that their shoes are off, make that things are off before they enter into it. Also, no food, drink, gum, sprays, or silly string. No one is permitted with the following medical conditions, as we see here: any head, neck, back, or other muscular, skeletal injuries or disabilities, pregnant women, and small infants. So the person who's at the entrance is going to make sure to enforce all this. It would seem to be like an obvious thing, but just in case, we have on here, no pets, animals permitted. Sorry, you can't bring your dog in. 2 adults must be watching at all times, which is where we're going to have someone at the entrance and also someone watching the kids. No flipping, rough play, wrestling, piling. So as people are about to enter the bounce house, the person needs to remind them of these rules. If you know for sure that the person knows the rules, you don't have to tell them every single time, but make sure that they thoroughly understand that, especially no flips and wrestling. Those are the 2 things that people want to tend towards. Do not bounce against the walls near the entry area or on any entry ramp. Do not climb on the unit or the netting. In other words, just stay away from the walls because it makes the walls start coming in. Only 5 people are allowed in at one time. Now, of course, that is regarding younger kids. So people in 1st through 5th grade, we can have about 5 kids at one time. If they're older people, just 2. While going down the slide, go feet first in the sitting position only. So people should not be going head first. They should not be going on their stomach. So make sure to enforce that. If people do not follow the instructions, they will be asked to leave the bounce house and potentially not to go on it for the rest of the week. Alright, before you start the bounce house, and I actually don't have it here, I just had them yesterday, but just for demonstration purposes, and it does say it right on the blower, inflatable must be tethered at all times. That is certainly a requirement. Many people are familiar with the situation of kids were in a bounce house, the wind came and blew it away, and they got injured. Alright, so each of these straps needs to be tethered down. There's one on the ground, and then there's one as it inflates that goes up. So two ropes will be tethered to the same thing. For VBS purposes, it'll probably just stay in one spot at the same time and just stay there all week. But just so that you're familiar, before we start it for the night, you should probably look and just make sure that everything is attached. Another thing to be aware of is there is an emergency zipper right here, and I left it in the open position. We may just leave it like this. I'm going to see once we blow it up. But anyone who is going to run this, who's going to operate this before they inflate it, make sure to be aware where this is. Make sure to, to open, close it, know exactly where it is. The entrance, when looking at the door, is on the far side. So it's on the far side. If you want to open it, you bring it in towards the door. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to inflate it. So this is the blower. Don't mind that starting noise, it does that every time. Make sure that this is thoroughly wrapped around. You don't want it to be loose, it's just a Velcro. So this is easy to operate. If it's open too much, it's not going to inflate very well. So make sure that it's tight, that there's not really, a little bit of air is okay coming out, but you don't want a big gap. This noise and the flopping is okay at the beginning. Here it goes. they say, it takes about 3 to 5 minutes to get this fully inflated. Not too bad considering the size of this humongous bounce house, which is just amazing. See, on the left-hand side, there's a basketball hoop. We could use softballs for, not actual basketballs, as kids will also be coming down this slide right here. So we don't want heavy balls coming at their heads. So only light balls. We're starting to be able to see the slide opening up here. There's a lot of rules that it mentions right here as well. So stop, do not enter unless operator is on duty. There should always be 2 people here. Also, they have their own rules, which is pretty much the same as we put on. No jewelry, facial jewelry, sharp objects, glasses. It's gotten stuck on itself. There we go. See him over here? What's going on? Looks like it got a little stuck. Alright, oh, I just learned something else. It looks like it was kind of folded in on itself. So if that's the case, just pull it by the wires, by the ropes on the sides here. So here it is, you see it. It's humongous, ginormous. Alright, and it looks like that works great. We do have the roof currently unzippered. We might as well just leave it in that position. No need to have it closed. So that way, in case something happens, someone trips over a cord, unplugs it, a fuse goes or whatever, we're fine. We have that emergency hole right there. So here you see the bounce house, which is awesome. People could do twister on it. We're gonna have a limit of 2 balls in here. We could have 2 softballs. People could use it for the basketball hoop. They could use it as a dodgeball type thing. But again, make sure that people aren't reckless with it. So they could play dodgeball, but they're starting to get a little reckless. Would have to put an end to that. So again, twister, basketball hoop. Let me take off my shoes. All right, I just did that. So here's the inside of the bounce house. Again, make sure that you kind of have your eye on kids. Always be ready at any time for this thing to deflate in case that ever does happen. This is the entrance here. Alright, and the good thing with this entrance is it does have a netting right here, so in case the thing does deflate and someone's kind of stuck here, you could at least move the top aside so that the person can breathe, so that no one would be smothered, again, in case it does deflate. And I'm going to go up here, and yes, I do have my watch on, but I'm not bouncing. And it does say here as well, slide feet first, no flipping or diving. So yes, we're not going to go head down. So here's the slide. Again, we're not going to put our hands out and go wee down the slide this way. We are going to put our feet first, like this, and go down the slide. But again, also right here too, they have this netting, which is great because in case it does kind of collapse on people, the people can breathe. That's wonderful. Feet first, just like that. So that's mostly it. I'm going to deflate it to show you guys again what happens if someone trips on the wire. It's happened before. So there's kids jumping in here. All of a sudden the thing goes off for whatever reason. We want to be ready for that. I'm going to show you what it looks like when it deflates. Button. Oops, we're out of energy. All right. The thing starts caving in. Of course, the kids are going to kind of start freaking out. You guys as leaders need to make sure that you don't freak out. So be calm. Don't panic and go, hurry up, get out. No. Just say, all right, guys, come on out. It's all right. Be reassuring to them. Open the door. Help assist them out. Don't freak out. Say, hey, guys, it's all right. It's all right. You guys are doing fine. Come on out. If someone needs to go in there, that's fine. But look at this, the way that it comes down. Again, you have this so that people can breathe. It's wonderful. You've got plenty of time to get out of here. And in the case that it does, kind of go on top of someone, there's a hole right there. So what we would do is the person who's at the entrance, whoever job is to be here, that person's main responsibility is to get everyone out of the slide, calm them down. The other person who is kind of standing and monitoring kids that they don't flip and stuff, what they would need to do is just check. First of all, let's look at this. Did someone hit this? Hopefully not. Check that button, because if we could easily, quickly reinflate it, that's the best case scenario. Is there a cord? Did someone trip over this? We're going to have this in a tied position, so it's not easy to trip over it. But just check, did this come apart? If it's not one of these two things, then just come and attend. We don't want to try to troubleshoot. Our main priority is getting kids out. So then at that point, come back. If there's anyone here, then you just kind of, but also as you come into it, don't just come in and step on it. What happens if there's a kid here? All right, so you don't just come in. So just from the sides, just pull this open. Hey guys, is there anyone here? All right. But again, that shouldn't happen, and even if it does happen, there's really plenty of room and there's plenty of time. As you guys noticed, it gave them about an entire minute right here for this thing to come down. So, to say, come on guys, hurry up, you're doing all right. You're doing all right, come on out. You might want to also just attend to the slide here if someone is in the slide area. All right, here we are. Okay, just pull this aside so that this isn't on top of someone. So just hold this open, help get them out. But again, if you only have 5 or 6 kids on here, it really shouldn't take that long to get them out anyways. So again, your main responsibility in any situation like that is people's safety. So keep your eye on the kids, be ready at all times to help people get out in case that does happen, which we're believing it won't happen, but in case it does, you'll be ready. There it is, that's all.